Hey, it's Kellen, and today on Diversified Game, I'm bringing you some game that you can use from all over the world. I have brother Eugene. Now, in the African diaspora news element, or just the whole atmosphere, I mean, he's talked with, you know, Ambassador Ari Khan. He knows the people because he does business with the people locally. He does shipping. He also does some stuff in agriculture. And I don't even think you can say all of the businesses in the business. Brother Eugene, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it, brother Colin. Thank you for having me as one of your show guests this afternoon, and definitely delighted to be a part of your network here.
Well, yeah, all I do is talk about business, and I find stories like yours that, when people probably look at you, they would not imagine you do everything that you do. They probably say, oh man, what does this brother do? Where does he work? Whatnot, not knowing that you run multiple businesses. And I get the same vibe. So, I definitely want you to come on and talk about, how you make your money as well as other people money in shipping and all the, different farming and agricultural things that you do. So please give an insight on how did you get started? Because you've been doing it for, over a decade.
Oh, yeah, for sure, brother. It comes to one of my professors out of Howard University, gentleman by the name of Paul F. Williams, and he was with the School of Business. This was way back in the 90s. And at the time when I first started going to school, didn't really have any type of career direction at first, just wanted to get the basics out the way of what they want you to know at the university. And later on, I was just doing odd jobs, working in DC. It's a very political charged atmosphere there. So a lot of the companies that I worked for had to do with litigation, working at law firms and economic firms and stuff like that. So later on down the line, after I started getting kind of acclimated with what I wanted to do career-wise, and this came around, I would say, 1992, 93, had started looking at import exporting. And so the Howard University had offered a course at the time to get people trained for freight forwarding jobs. And so I took the course, and of course at the time I met Professor Paul F. Williams. He kind of got me hip to the industry. And he said, we're going to take some baby steps, but I'd like to mentor you to get you engaged in what's happening on the international arena. And it's not just a part of the logistics that's involved, but the overall aspects of international trade. And so one of my first volunteer jobs that I did was with the DC Chamber of Commerce. And I worked for them for a couple of years, just doing some volunteer work while I worked my real job. And of course, Paul F. Williams, he became the chair of the International Trade Committee. And so he brought me on as a co-chair person to oversee the Caribbean nations. And of course, through that means I was able to get myself acclimated with how many of the governments work on a international scale, and particularly to international trade, import exporting, tariffs and customs and things of that nature. And so that took me a little bit further down the line. Eventually, I just started out import exporting goods and products from some of the places that I would travel to. And that brought a pretty good income for me. But after a while, I started looking at how the logistics of everything kind of operated with all that, and started looking at some of the income opportunities that those different sectors were producing. And I was like, wow, it's a lot of money to be made. And of course, over the years. Just was able to get with the right people at the right time that mentored me to help me grow to the next level. And, just started out as a mom and pop operation. My primary company, Exquisite Import Export Trading Company, and we incorporated the operation as a freight management company. FMCs, they were just coming into play, and it was a business entity that was actually created during the Reagan administration. And prior to that, most companies had to go to one individual company to obtain services like either the trucking, either the freight forwarding, if they need customs, if they need warehousing, distribution, the list goes on. But with the actual makeup and detail entity of a freight management company, you were able to offer customers a wide variety of services under one umbrella. And I formed Exquisite Import Export Trading Company in 1989. We incorporated it in 1994, 95, somewhere around in there, and became a corporation. And that's when I knew we were starting to obtain more and more business opportunities with my first business partner and I, and just kind of evolved from there. That Exquisite Import Export Trading Company, we also do business under the name of the acronym ETC Logistics USA. And so that's kind of how we got started. So now here it is, 2020, still chugging along. Been through many ups and downs with just owning and operating a business of its size. Like I said, we started out as a mom and pop operation. First, we weren't doing any more than about 30,000 a year. Now we do a little over 600,000 a year, and it's been as high as 900,000 over the last 15 years. But the gross as opposed to the net has changed drastically over the last 3 years since a lot of stuff has changed with the economics in the country. So with that, a lot of our cargo that we were importing and exporting were big machinery. We contract with many of the manufacturers and distribution centers up and down the East Coast. We have about 100 companies that we service, and we offer a wide variety of services ranging from trucking, freight forwarding, warehousing. We also provide logistics management services, cargo tracking when you have certain types of shipments going overseas using REFI systems. And of course, we're linked into many of the large platforms worldwide that gives us an opportunity to grab business for our type of business and industry.
Well, you said a lot, and you do a lot. I want to know, how nervous were you when you started this from Howard University? And when you were going to Howard, I know Howard was rough. It's not the Howard that people see now, because I remember coming from Oakland doing a college tour, and I said, Howard, man, it looked like a straight up movie. Yeah. So, how nervous were you when you're shipping things, not just, from one place in the country to the other side, but you're shipping things to Africa, to Asia and whatnot, and people are relying on you? I can only imagine that, there's a nervousness, especially in the beginning, of how do I make sure we don't lose this package? Because packages get lost every day, B.
Well, when I first started out, it was by trial and error as well. It's something that you have to kind of grab the bull by the horns and try to jump in there. Of course, immediately after I graduated, I was able to obtain my freight forwarder's license, and it's a process where you have to go through vetting process through the Department of Transportation, and you get either your ocean carrier or international air cargo freight forwarding transportation license. And of course, I opted to just go with the ocean. but it's a very lucrative industry. And, just to kind of give you a general idea of some of the things that a freight forwarder is involved with every day, it goes through the process of getting the cargo paperwork prepped and ready for shipping. There's a due diligence process to find out what type of tariff that may be attached to the actual product, and then coordinating it with overseas customs or customs here, domestic customs, to get the product cleared. And then if it's a food product or something to do with agriculture, you want to make sure that you go through the right avenues to get clearance by USDA or Food and Drug Administration to have those type of products enter into the country, and making sure that it's a safe product for, especially if it's a consumer type of product. But yeah, it's been many challenges for us over, the last 25 years since I've been in the business, and I've actually been challenged with sometimes on the verge of complete bankruptcy, just based on how the industry goes. But the industry is highly affected by fuel prices, and that goes to, diesel fuel that is used to, energize a lot of the steamships.
Let me ask you, because I have a young man here, 17. He's off camera. He's a great, excellent student. And is this something that someone who, they say, okay, I want to go to college, but I want to start making some money right now. Is there any age limit, or is there a financial barrier? What were the steps for someone who's about to be 18 who says, look, I want to ship things worldwide too, and make money from my dorm room, from my apartment, from wherever? Mm-hmm. Is that possible?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. There's many avenues how you can get involved into import exporting. And when I first started, like I said, I would travel to different countries, and many of the countries where we have, I saw a need or a gap, such as, say like automotive parts, and it could be either used or new automotive parts going to the Caribbean islands. Many of the places, they don't have easy access for getting, supplies like that over. So when I first started, we started out as an automotive export operation, where we would go to salvage yards or just purchase parts and stuff like that and ship them overseas to different places. And then in turn, when I would travel there, I would buy up a bunch of stuff ranging from art to, furniture, clothing, you name it, and bring it back here, and had a pretty good market of my own for many of the things that were being manufactured and supplied at some of the places where I used to travel. But other than that, since we've been in operation for the last 25 years, just been making bona fide connections, mostly with government agencies that we kind of approach first to see what the trade atmosphere looks like, and then also kind of get a feel of what's needed in many of the countries in which we are now operating out of. And that's kind of how we got our foot in the door. And so, a 25-year relationship has been built out, and we have customers from the Caribbean islands all the way over to Africa, and which we've been servicing now for about 25 years now.
Now, you said some key words, what's needed. So if somebody, like I say, this young man, and if he wants to, he can come jump on camera anytime, right? He's shaking his head. Now, I'm not ready for that. He didn't get his cut. What if someone is interested in like niche type things? Maybe it's video games. Maybe it's healthcare products. Do you kind of have to be flexible where you have to just ship whatever is needed, or can you hone in on those certain contacts and say, I just want to be the guy who brings, entertainment or PPE or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me, can you be selective, or is it just?
Yeah, I mean, the import-export industry is wide open, both for product and service. And, the extraordinary thing about it is if you know that you have a niche market in certain countries, you can begin to infiltrate that by, having product ready to be sold right there on the ground, from, cosmetics to hair care products, really big demand in a lot of the Afro nations in which I'm operating out of. And, everything from automobiles to construction materials, building materials, man, you name it, it's needed out there. And it's a big industry, it's wide open. One of the things that we've been working with former First Lady, former Ambassador Eric Hanna of the African Union, is to bridge the gap between international trade and the Afro diaspora. And right now, Africa itself, prior to the COVID epidemic, had been pushing for the jumpstart of the African Industrial Revolution. And just being a part of that, you can really see where the revenues will be generated from the international trade, since a lot of the nations now are getting rid of the barriers that they've had between one another, especially in the ECOWAS regions of Africa, the economic communities of West Africa, beginning to lower the boundaries that have kept them divided for so many years through neo-colonial powers. And so we know that right now they're using the same model as the United Arab Emirates to jumpstart the revolution. And this will bring forth a lot of jobs and economic development for many of the nations there in Africa right now.
What type of projections are expected with a company like yours that does shipping, with Africa, on the boom? And, what it is these old leaders, getting out, getting, folks who actually know how to use computers, especially in, those ECOWAS regions. It's time for some new blood. And it's really like, the gold rush back in the day. That's where we're at, where you can grab, a piece of the market. What type of, is it in the billions? Is it in the, tens of billions?
Sure. With the jumpstart of the African Industrial Revolution, you're talking about trillions of dollars that are going to be generated, and, ranging infrastructure, telecommunications, there's all kind of products, skills, and resources that are needed from the diaspora right now to really make this thing work. And one good thing about it, by being a person of African culture and in the diaspora, we've had the opportunity to really get ourselves educated, to see where there are open opportunities are in Africa. And so it's going to be a lot of business that we'll be able to make and produce for ourselves as a collective people, and also individually. You can do as small as a company could earn anywhere between 25,000 all the way up to a few million, depending on what industry part of the sector that you want to be in, as far as international trading is concerned. So.
Okay. And you are somebody, you've been doing this. Folks will get confused because they'll see you and they'll say, he said 89. Wait, hold on. Wasn't he 9 in 89? But you have extensive, travels to Africa. Can you talk about your travels and any investment in the countries that maybe you've invested in personally, and why?
For sure. Well, like I said, just being Mr. International, it allowed me to open up and broaden my horizons as far as being engaged in a lot of the activity pertaining to international trade and logistics, and also looking at some of the new opportunities. So with my connections that I have right now, mostly are in the South American region, which is Guyana, Suriname, also in Colombia, and I also have some contacts in Brazil that I've been working with over the years. And on the west coast of Africa, from Morocco all the way down to Zambia, Namibia, in the Angola region, we've been doing some international trading with many of the companies and brothers and sisters in that area. And for the most part, I've got into agriculture back in 2010 and did an offspring company by the name of Talford Guyana Agro Industries. And we basically started looking at some additional ways to bring income in. So I got into oil palm farming. And so with those regions that I'm connected with, it's sort of a bilateral trade system that we operate under. I'm able to get oil palm, and in turn, I'm able to gather up many of the things that a lot of our customers want to import into their country, ranging from, like I said, automobiles to clothing, you name it.
And have you done any land investment or built, any homes? Because I always try to tell people, you might love visiting Africa, you might love to invest, but some folks, they may not want to live there, and that's perfectly fine as long as you're contributing. You may be like, you know what, I'm comfortable being in wherever place I'm at. So have you done any land investment or any plan to, have a second or third home over there?
Yeah, well, mostly, mostly just doing some small amount of investing from the agricultural sectors. Been helping people who have farms to grow crops of all sorts, both from food to energy resources. And haven't bought any land, but I do have great connections in Senegal, Gambia area, and also in Cameroon, which my actual ancestral lineage is Cameroon, Benin. But I have been, since I've learned that, looking at going to those regions to where I feel like I can make a difference, and then get engaged on the business ground in Cameroon and Benin. And then, of course, with me having my other connections throughout the ECOWAS region, that would, of course, help expand out a whole avenue of opportunities. So,
my Cameroonian brother, I already know some Cameroonians who will look at you and say that we thought that was our uncle or our cousin or whatnot. I definitely.
Yeah, what's up? Proud to be. I found that out, and matter of fact, I was at a meeting at the Benin Embassy. This must have been about a year ago, and I was there, and I happened to tell one of the commercial counselors at the embassy. I said, "Yeah, I just found out that I got, my ancestral lineage has come from Benin as well." And man, he went out and came back with the ambassador, and man, they came back and pinned me up. He said, "Welcome home, brother." They just gave me a much love, man. He said, "Yeah, we look forward to doing business with you." So it's going to be some great things coming out of that region as well.
No, awesome. I know one of our Cameroonian elders, beautiful woman, but she goes shopping in Benin. It's like every place, Americans love to go shopping abroad because it's a better price. And she gets a better price in Benin than she gets in Cameroon. Whereas to me in Cameroon, I'm getting a great price. So it's
right.
And that's a beautiful thing. Any plans to maybe, take a pilgrimage to Benin or in Cameroon, after this COVID thing, because Cameroon is going to go through a leadership change very soon. And they've also been voting about, are they going to allow dual citizenship because they see money they're losing out on. So do you think your story would be one of those where you could uproot your family, or are you pretty much grounded in America and will just do business in Africa?
No, not for sure. I think just living on both fronts is a good thing. Many of us have been trying to work to get ourselves linked back up with the mother continent. And since I've been traveling there, and that's been since the early 90s, Senegal, Gambia was my first trip, at which I looked at as being a pilgrimage. I was probably the first person out of many generations in my family to be able to set foot back on in Africa. So that was quite an experience for me, and both me and my wife and some other family members. But for sure now, We're going to be looking at getting another home, possibly in Cameroon or the Benin area, to where, we can begin to get reconnected. And also, with my background working with many of the ECOWAS nations through the Department of Commerce here, and also the DC, Washington DC Chamber of Commerce, where I got my first experience out of. It's definitely opened up a lot of opportunities to take advantage of in those nations. So yeah, definitely, I'm going to be looking at investing a whole lot, and especially now with the current climate that we have here in the United States, not a very promising place for African people, especially for African Americans, what we have been challenged with for so many years. Stuff that our parents had to deal with, stuff that our grandparents, and then the list goes all the way back to the early 1600s when we first come here, not knowing who we were and where we came from, and all of that has changed in our day and time because with the transformation of information and technology, as well as science, has really opened up a lot of avenues for us to take advantage of getting ourselves reconnected to the places and where our ancestors come from. And so I say this because one, it would help us economically on two fronts, being able to operate from one nation into another nation. It'll give us a wider opportunity to be able to have our money recirculate in Black dollars a little bit more often, whereas now a lot of our Black dollars were integrated into the system that we're in today. And a lot of our businesses were lost over the years because of that too. So it's just what it is.
And it would stop and help some of the brain drain. Folks sometimes, even Black folks, get nervous when you start talking about Black dollars and does it matter? And yes, it does, because it matters, because when we say taking our money and going elsewhere, like Jewish people take their money and go abroad, and Mexican folks give their money back to Mexico, and Africans do it all over. When African Americans start talking about it, people say, hold on, we need to hold on to those trillions. So they try to turn and twist that into something negative and racist because they want to, keep hold. At the same time, they will go invest in those same places. And so, and won't, and they'll tell you about how beautiful it is. But yeah, so I think that's very important because, as you know, when you get to Africa, your money, $3,000 a month, you're rich.
You could go. It could go a long way. Just spending, depending on how extravagant you want your living to be. But definitely, yeah, money like that, and with the dollar valuation and exchange, you could stretch out, and the cost of living is much cheaper. So, it's very important for us to realize this in our day and time. And especially when you talk about Black economics, regaining wealth, building wealth, these things are very vital. And a lot of land opportunities exist for us there as well. Just many of the nations now are beginning to offer repatriation and dual citizenship. And for us to be able to take advantage of that, people from ADOS, African descendants of enslaved people, and being able to go back and claim some of our rightful things that we would have been given if slavery had never taken place.
Yes, and we can't go back, but we sure can build for a better future, and that's why groups that Brother Eugene, they're not just talking and saying give us reparations. He actually has plans. And those are things, all his links will be in the description box, and I'd like you to follow what he does. I really want to tap though into the money, because you have a business now that, to me, it seems you could live anywhere in the world. And that's a very important thing when we talk about, being able to have a second home on a whole nother continent. Is the transportation or your agricultural, is that something that you think you could have a good grips on even if you were outside of the United States.
Oh, for sure. Many of the nations in Africa and on the Caribbean islands, they grow a substantial amount of food and resources that are imported here to the United States on a regular basis and worldwide. So having a business such as an import-export business or any type of business that is engaged in agriculture, especially sustainable agriculture, and also renewable energy is very important these days for, just clean, renewable energy resources, manufacturing. That's what we're trying to get more engaged into. So I highly encourage brothers and sisters out there or people who are interested in those types of fields to definitely get involved, get engaged. Food is a necessary resource that we're always going to need. You're always going to need something like transportation and logistics. Getting yourself in a career that is sustainable itself. That's kind of what you want to kind of position yourself to be a part of. And it ranges from administrative all the way up to, a person who's dealing in mechanics, to keep this type of system going, this type of business going. It's an industry that is very versatile in what you can do as a part of it.
And what type of money do you need to start? Because some folks will get intimidated. They'll hear all the certifications and the government people you got to talk to, and they might say, do I need to be, have this or that? What type of money and also what type of, preparation and timing does it take to say, okay, I have X amount of dollars and it's probably going to take me this amount of time to even break even?
Mm-hmm. Well, you can start out as little as $1,200. If you're just starting out on the mom and pop scale, anytime you go on a travel or you go on vacation somewhere, if it's outside of the United States, you definitely want to look and see what it is that you don't normally see here in your own community, and just, buy stuff like jewelry and trinkets that you can bring back. People will be interested in purchasing, households that they can put in their house or something like that. Like, they have stuff from like furniture to, just basic stuff, art and accessories and stuff like that you can bring back and sell. And of course, with what you buy the product for there in those places, way less than what you would pay for here in the States. And once you get it back here, you can mark it up anywhere between sometimes to 3 to 5 times of what it cost you to buy it and bring it back here.
Okay.
So,
I can hear somebody say, okay, that's great if I had money to travel, but it's COVID-19. I've lost almost everything, but I do have my $1,200 saved. Is there a way from inside the United States I can use that $1,200 to ship things elsewhere? And what would be the first step? Because this is a multi-layered process. It's not just like you do one thing and then, magic happens. So for someone who might have held on to $1,200, what can they do from the States in exporting?
Well, I'll tell you, there's a few good platforms out here, electronic trading platforms that are dealing in import-export, the import-export of goods and products. One is Alibaba, which is a Chinese-owned and operated platform, but it has a very broad reach across the import-export, the international trade industry. Platforms like that could be utilized. And then I believe there's a new African trade platform that is coming online. It just come online within the last year. So I can't remember the name. I think it's Jimuji or something like that. But anyway, those platforms could definitely open up a wide variety of opportunities for people who want to get engaged in international trade right away. If you have a product that you want to advertise, solicit, or advertise, it can be advertised on the platform. You can put your prices up. If you have a product or a service, you can tell a little bit about who you are, your company, and so forth. This definitely helps generate an income for people. If you're stuck in COVID, on the platform itself, it has logistics resources that could be utilized, where, you know, if you had your product or you pack it up at your front door, leave it on your front door, and somebody like FedEx, DHL, whatever means of that's offered on the platform itself, they will help you get your product from point A to B, wherever it may be.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I definitely want to do some research and find out more about that platform. I'm not familiar with, but I could see how that platform could be connected with like Jumia, which, is, Africa's Amazon, and
Hmm. Hmm.
how that could really, change the game. Because when everybody's doing one thing, I want to do something different and find out, where is the opportunity. And Amazon, here is, I mean, a lot of us couldn't, we couldn't live without Amazon. It's
Oh
just,
yeah, for sure. You know, we watched Amazon develop over the last 12 years, and man, it who knew that platforms like that would dominate the industry today? You know, between them and Walmart, the big distributors, no one knew it would be moving into that direction. But one of the things that made them really stand out, that the retail and wholesale industry was shifting to electronic interface, and so that's one of the things that helped propel them in a different direction. And those are organizations where a fine line between integrating, uh, having a balance of both human power and machinery, definitely was able to help generate more job opportunities, at the same time help streamline logistics and distribution for products. And so those institutions like that have definitely helped take logistics into the future, the direction of where logistics is going to be headed towards. Uber is doing a great job with it now as well.
oh yeah, Uber and Uber Freight, and those are good companies, but we're talking about Eugene's greatness. And I want to know, with everything that you've, done, what is your community give back that you do or that you want to do in the future? Because I see like courses that you teach, but what is something that you're doing or that you want to do as a community give back with your success?
Well, since I've been in business, my primary goal is to put our people to work. That's where I saw the gap at back in the early 90s, and had been challenged with job opportunity myself. And of course, when I first started, I had to get in to find out how the industry works, and, just to get acclimated with what the basics are. But I learned enough where I was able to jump out myself and start my own operation. And I started out as a mom and pop operation, just me and a couple of other guys. And later on, was able to build out. Right now, we have 12 employees all together. And over the past year, have been working to develop job opportunity to continue to grow in the industry in which I'm operating out of. With our farm in Guyana, we have a seasonal-based operation where it could be anywhere between 25 to 50 people or more. With me being in those regions like that, we work very closely with the both local and indigenous tribes in Guyana, where we're able to, help produce income as well as educational, as well as resources to help people manage their day, just to get income and money into their pockets. So from a grassroots level, we've been really grinding it out for the past 25 years, 25, 26, 27 years, and just been very inclusive. I've actually worked as a junior professor after I graduated Howard, and was teaching import, exporting, and trade at Howard University, and also Roxbury University, Roxbury College at the time. Now it's Roxbury University up in Boston, and would travel there during the weekends. And I had the same training course that I went under at Howard University, was able to then go to use it as a grassroots method to help train individual people who wanted to get careers a difference in career opportunity, and also just get engaged in how can you go about import exporting to make yourself an income. And that's what I've been doing, just trying to get it in. It's been a grind for sure.
Oh man, and you've been doing it, and you've been doing it. Can you tell the folks how, how has the impact being your wife and business, and how that has helped you, or has it, I've never heard someone say this, but you're more than welcome. It's like, being married stopped me from doing stuff. But usually I find in my experience, being married, no matter what that marriage looks like, right? It could be Will and Jada, it could be, Kellen and Tina, it could be, whatever. Because your marriage is your marriage and your rules are your rules. How has that helped or defined your business?
Well, me and my wife, we work as a team, and my wife is a career woman herself. She's a bank VP, vice president, and had been in banking for many years. So that's definitely been, it was able to help me, especially with managing my company's affairs, and from an accounting standpoint of view. But, life is what you make it. If you got a partner and you and your partner have the same grind, what do you call it? Ethics. You definitely, it makes it better for you. Two heads is better than one, and two incomes is always better than one. So, we've been able to, manage ourselves by helping each other grow. When I first started out business-wise, after I left corporate industry and decided to step out on my own, it was, several times when, I had to lean on my wife for support financially, but eventually was able to grow our businesses to where it's, financially stable, and to keep things moving forward, to keep ourselves employed as well as keep others as well.
Well, and I appreciate you being so open about that, because we find that, we got a new generation coming up. They might, hit big the first lick, think they don't need anybody, and life is just going to be some big orgy. And that orgy is going to cost you, and it's cost us, being older. You say, man, all that time of, chasing the cat, like the Blue song says.
Well, ain't nothing wrong with chasing the cat neither. You know what I'm saying? That's what you're supposed to do as a single person.
No, nothing wrong. Because I don't want to be that. Put that same time and energy into, you can have the cat. You can eat at home and eat off your own plate and build this business, because there's greatness. But some folks, they're scared of it, and I think that there's very few platforms where men can hear other men say it's okay to be married.
Yeah, it is, and there's nothing wrong with it. And if you're talking about family, community building, all of that comes into play with that. And like I said, with us, family is very big to me. And just having that loyalty and having a mate that's willing to help grind out what we're here to do in our time of the living, is very important. And for, just words of advice for young men who may be looking for a mate, I was single once myself, and of course, sometimes it's hard. You may meet several people that you may have thought that was the right one, but definitely, as you keep looking and as you come into knowing yourself, you kind of get a general idea of who you are as a person, and also be able to share that with someone else as well, and that other person feel comfortable enough to share themselves with you to help grow to the next level. And that's what family is about: building your family, building your community. We're very Afrocentric here, so it's very important for us to know who we are as a people, and especially, it's been a lack of information that we know about ourselves as, as people of the African American community, and our connection to the mother continent itself. So, we see that as a way to help broadening who it is that we are and just feeling comfortable in our own skins. So.
Well, Brother Eugene, I don't want to give them a game overload because you've given them enough research where they can take this for more than a month and start looking up stuff. Your information will be in the description box. Folks, I want you to like, share, and subscribe to whatever platform you listen to this on, because this is not fluff. This is the real deal. And I know if you send Brother Eugene an email with a serious question, I would love if he had a course for you just so he doesn't get, flooded. But he's a very kind, this is how he is always. He's never, putting on airs. I used to see him in the hat with the shirt. And,
that's what's up.
Yeah, so not everyone's like that. Some folks have to be suited up. Some folks will only do business in a suit. Some folks are so stuck.
Well, that's how I would normally be if Coleman wasn't around, but I got comfortable in my bohemian lifestyle now, So I'm leaving here. I'm getting ready to go jump on the boat in a few minutes. Just go on out, chill for the rest of the day, get a little fishing in, come on back, do some work, But it's definitely been a challenge because we've had to close our warehouses down and stuff like that temporarily, But, this thing is going to come to pass, and I'm very optimistic about what's up. I'm going to get back on this African Industrial Revolution thing because that's what I want our brothers and sisters to really know about so they can get engaged on the front part of it. That's where you make your money at. And, of course, as Ambassador Ericana, former First Lady Ambassador Ericana, Chumbero-Kwa, as she relay information to the team, then I'm able to relay it to the public as well to get people engaged on what's happening out there.
Well, I appreciate you, and please, we both gonna do a little bit of fishing now. Yeah. That I'm on this side of the country. I have to. I got something right behind me, actually.
I know you do. I saw that out there in the back. I'm gonna have to bring my boat down there so we can get out there for real. I got a nice little speedboat too now.
Oh man, okay. We have to go to some bigger waters because you get reckless on that little.
Yeah, I know about West Palm Beach. I know about what's going on down there.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you. You guys invest in a ticket to Africa. We just saw Washington D.C. to Kenya for $616 round trip.
Oh man, that's excellent price right now.
Yes, it's like stock. Buy now so you can use it later, benefit later.
That's what's up. That's what's up. As a matter of fact, I want to say this before the end of the show, but prior to this, we're working with getting a trade mission set up, and we had plans to go this year to Senegal, Gambia. We're going to go to Nigeria and end up in Cameroon and come back from there. But after this COVID stuff is over with, we're definitely going to be taking a trade mission of folks who are interested in traveling to the mother continent, whether it's for your pilgrimage, but we're looking at bringing a whole slew of business people to get connected with a lot of the ECOWAS nations that we're working with there now, to get them on the ground, get businesses rock and rolling, get them matched up with people that they can do business with, banks, you name it. We've been working with the African Development Bank and also many of the import-export banks that are on the ECOWAS ground, and want to get people tied into that network. And we're very serious about getting this African Industrial Revolution off and running. Matter of fact, they've already started in Nigeria a couple of years ago. If you get a chance, you can Google Eco Atlantic and Eco Atlantica, and you can see some of the extraordinary construction that's going on right now. And that construction is going to be taking place from, like I say, Morocco all the way down to Angola on the coast there. They're trying to develop the whole coast of Africa, west coast of Africa. So that's going to be a good business opportunity for us, the African Americans, people in the Afro diaspora, to get engaged on.
Well, this is beautiful game. You guys got the game. That's why I said I can't give him a game overload, because Brother Eugene has 5 different things he can tell you about. And I want you to make sure, if this interests you and you need more insight, to reach back to him. Please appreciate his time. Have questions clear and concise. But you guys share, like, be blessed. Peace.